Okay, I'm gonna I am gonna leave this thing alone, but I could not help but speak to this issue, and it is related to the Southern Baptist Convention, the office, the studio here in Nashville, Tennessee, in which I currently reside and am a music artist in. A lot of these books come from a Southern Baptist institution that shall remain nameless at this point. So, the story about the Southern Baptist Convention and the sexual cover up abuse scandal that was there, man, that coming to light, that bombshell, that wasn't just somebody else's issue. That's a me issue. It starts to get a little bit personal. First of all, I want to go ahead and say that you can link any number of articles that are there. I'm just kind of reading a little bit from the NPR article just to give one thought. I mean, you can comment as much as you would like to. How has this affected you? Has this affected you? What impact do you think this will make on the Southern Baptist Convention? All those different things, all those different concerns, bring in the comment section. But here's the thought that I wanted to give. I'm going to summarize this with one question that's kind of a bombshell question. But according to the NPR, Lisa Chang did an interview with Albert Mohler, who's the president of Southern Seminary, touts all the different laurels of the Southern Baptist Convention. If you're not familiar with who they are, who we are, who I am, largest evangelical denomination in the country. They commissioned an investigative report that was a 300-page report that was given of the cover-up and sexual abuse scandals, some of them known about very publicly, silencing those who had been abused. And man, just a lot that's going on here. Alyssa Chang, who is the interviewer in this, asked Albert Mohler a question. I wanted to zero in on this because this is my big bombshell question for today. She said, ultimately, what effect do you think this revelation of abuse and cover up will have on the S.B.C. And their ability to speak publicly on moral issues going forward? What do you think? As you well know, the Southern Baptist Convention is in the news all the time for some moral thing that we are pointing the finger and saying, thus saith the word of God. And so therefore that's what everybody needs to hear. And I ain't necessarily mad about that because, you know, the word of God does touch on some of the moral issues that are going on in our society, but we're kind of known for that. We're kind of known for being people of the book, right? Standing on the word of God, the grass withers, the flowers fade, but the word of our God will stand forever. We're kind of known as people of the book. Mohler responds to that question, and I don't want to criticize his response at all. I just want to pick up on one tiny thing that he didn't say that I'm wondering. So, Mohler, help us out with this one. Mohler said, well, it's certainly a challenge to Southern Baptists. It's mostly right now, it challenges to what we do before the watching world. One of the things that I'd mentioned, just given some of the things that have been raised here, the vast majority of the people mentioned in this report have been, in one way or another, severed from the S.B.C. You look at that and you say the S.B.C. was very slow. S.B.C. entities, policies were very slow. Well, we're going to have to speed everything up, he says. That's clearly the demand, the moral urgency of the time. He's right on point. The article is fantastic. I think that being interviewed in a situation like that is not always the easiest thing, but Albert Mohler is always well prepared. He's prepared when he's not prepared. And he did a fantastic job in that interview. You can read it in its entirety. Check it out. It's NPR. But the question that I wanted to ask is, are these the last days of the Southern Baptist Convention? I know that Mohler talks about leadership, and certain leadership that was their predecessors had been severed from the S.B.C. But is this a situation in which we just say, okay, where are the cancerous spots, and we just cut those out, and there's no systemic issue that's found there? In fact, it's kind of cringy to think that that's not a systemic issue when you have a 300-page report that is indicating that it pretty much is. Or here's my question for the day, and this is the bombshell. I'm leaving with this. I'm leaving on a jet plane with this question. Are these the last days of the Southern Baptist Convention as it is presently constituted? Either will there be another denomination that springs up to take the place of the Southern Baptist Convention to do some of the very similar things that it does, but does not have the stain, reputation, and taint that the Southern Baptist Convention has now? Or do you think this is another reform movement that takes place? Maybe a, I don't know, revival that takes place in the Southern Baptist Convention? We're about right for one of those things. What do you think? Drop a comment in the comment section and let me know what's going on. It's the Erskin Music Show. I'm out. I told you it's going to be short.